Well, hello, good morning, and welcome to the Elvington Air Museum. As you can see, we are starting off with a look at the Hawker Hurricane 2C. Apparently this one's a replica of the Night Fighter, and I don't know what's going on around here, but there's been a lot of cars around here, and the Porsche owners group are also here as well, which is honestly a very big coincidence, but I've got to say it's absolutely fantastic. In the meantime though, we've got a lot of stuff to look around. We've got the Handley Page hangar over here. We've also got a giant Avro Victor aircraft to look at, and so much more. So let's get going and, well, let's have a look around, shall we? So I'm having a little bit of a wander around at the moment. There's plenty of stuff to look at. I've got that giant plane over here, all of these over here, and so many more. However, as you can see in front of me, there is this giant square with what looks like weird shapes and arrows and all sorts of things. Quite frankly, I've got no idea what it is, but I'm going to try and see if I can find out. And if I do, I'll let you know. So, for planes, we start off with this thing. This is the almighty Hawker Siddeley and Nimrod, and I've got to say, it is absolutely massive. Honestly, I've got to walk quite a fair ways back here just to get it in the frame. In fact, there we go, just about got it to get in frame there, right next to where the barrier is for the other aircraft. I think that gives you a good idea of just how massive this plane is. I've got to say though, it is very, very interesting to look at. There's also some information on this as well, which we'll take a look at in just a few moments time. And there's another very, very impressive aircraft just over to the right. Now, I promised I'd share the information about the cool little Nimrod over here that's not quite so little. Again, this thing's absolutely massive. But here you go, here's all the info for you. Feel free to go ahead and pause the video there if you want to read through all of it. In the meantime, going over to the right hand side, we've got ourselves the almighty Handley Page Victor. And I've got to stand here because again, this is another massive aircraft that I've got to somehow try and get in frame. I can't put across on camera just how big this thing is, but this plane's absolutely huge. So from the inside of a electric English Canberra, I think that's properly the name for it, to this thing, the Blackburn Buccaneer S2XN974. As you can see, you've got all of the details down here. Again, feel free to go ahead and pause that if you wish to. But it is quite an interesting aircraft, again, quite a brilliant, massive aircraft as well, with some strange wings, I'm not going to lie. But if you're talking strange wings, then I'm just going to pan around to this thing. This is the Gannet, or the Fairy Gannet, the AEW3 XL502. Again, you've got all the details down there, but can go ahead and pause that if you wish to. You've also got the Porsche Drivers Club over there, just leaving in the background, so don't mind them. But it is a very, very strange aircraft with a really weird wing design and double propellers at the front for some reason. Usually when you hear of double propellers or a turboprop, it's usually they've got one that side and one over that side. But no, with the Gannet, they decided, you know what, let's go ahead and stick them both on the front for good measure. And then we go right next door to it, where this aircraft is from Canada. Oh, and here's the details. Well, I've finally been able to get a little bit closer to the Handley Page Victor, about as close as I'm legally allowed to get. But going over to this little area over here, you've got yourself a nice little write-up and my shadow. Hello, how are you doing? But I've got to say, this is an absolutely iconic aircraft. So I've seen the Vulcan, the Victor. The one left to see is the Valiant, so if anybody happens to know where there's a Valiant in the UK, please do go ahead and let me know. I'd love to see it, because that means I get to see all three famous, they're called V-bombers, apparently, is what the officials say that this area or this range of aircraft is. So I've seen 2 out of the 3. Now I've got to go and find the elusive plane 3 of 3. So moving a bit further down, we've also got ourselves this rather interesting blue plane that I was going to film before I had my fish and chips, but I decided I was going to have my food first. There's not really too much out about this thing as to what plane it is, what make it is, where it's from, aside from the tail fin on the end, I think, which might give us a little bit of a clue. Oh, and that bit too. But I really don't have any clue what plane this actually is, so if anybody in aviation happens to know, please do let me know too. And just like the sign says, welcome to the restoration hangar at the Yorkshire Air Museum. You've just seen a bit of B-roll of having a little bit of a look-see around the cockpit of this thing, which apparently is, well, this one. If you want the details, again, feel free to go ahead and pause the video there and have a little look-see around. Over here, we've got ourselves the Anson Navigation Trainer, which is currently undergoing restoration at the moment, and I've got to say it does look very interesting indeed. There's also a lot of parts down here too, and we also have ourselves a few more bits of information too. Let's try and see if I can zoom in on that a little bit and give you a little bit of a something to read. There we go. Now, I bet you've heard of a lot of weird plane names, but how's about this one? This is the Flying Flea. It is a homemade airplane, apparently the HA something or other. I can't understand what that says, but it says something. Apparently it was designed by the French amateur flyer Henry Mignet. I don't know how to say that. It's French. I'm not good with French, but either way, here is the plane itself. It's certainly something. Certainly something. So one more thing that I think is pretty cool to mention that I didn't get a chance to talk about earlier, just before we do head back, is the fact that there is a giant tank just here right outside of the museum, which is honestly pretty cool indeed. And I'm glad it's a static one, because if that started moving, I think I'd be running in the opposite direction very quickly. In the meantime though, it's time for us to jump back on to the coach, and just being very careful I don't get run over by Hyundai going past. But we're going back onto the coach, making our way back to the studio, and then time for me to go ahead and try and edit all this together.